Good afternoon, I'm Jackson Piercy.
And I'm Gracie Goose. General Motors and Ford lay off additional 500 workers as a result of continuation of expansion of the United Workers Union strike. Reporter Andrew Kasalika takes us to a local dealership to see how the strike might affect Omaha.
7,000 additional workers have joined the United Auto Workers strike. This marks the second time that the UAW has expanded the walkouts since the strike began in mid-September. According to the Associated Press, about 17% of the union's 146,000 workers are now on strike. If the strike continues, General Sales Manager at Quest Auto Sales, Scott McMahon, says the strike could affect the Omaha car buyer.
Be prepared to pay a little more than what you thought you were going to have to. Again, as the market shrinks, the availability gets smaller, the prices drive up.
McMahon says to be prepared to spend a little bit more money if you're shopping for a car at a place like Quest Auto Sales. And UNO Professor of Economics, Dr. Christopher Decker, says that he believes the UAW strike will result in just that.
If you combine those price increases for autos because they're producing less, and you add that on top of world oil prices, which have been going up recently, that could reignite some inflation.
According to a report from J.D. Power and Associates, if the strike runs until the end of the month, prices could increase by around 2% on new vehicles across the board. Decker says if this persists along with other factors like inflationary pressure from oil prices, the economy could dip into a recession, as higher interest rates would affect home buyers and business owners. For the Omaha News, I'm Andrew Kaslika.
Interest rates in Omaha are nearly 8%, almost 2 percentage points up from last year. According to the Detroit News, the walkouts have cost the U.S. economy nearly $4 billion in lost wages, company sales, automotive suppliers, and dealer losses.
If you haven't visited it yet, then you most likely have heard of it. The new Riverfront Park is now open to visitors, but is facing public access concerns. Reporter Max Scarvey takes us down to the river.
Omaha's new downtown Riverfront Park opened on August 23rd and has been met with much praise. The $325 million transformational development features numerous outdoor recreation opportunities and a skating rink. However, a growing number of citizens are frustrated that adequate nearby parking is not readily available. Park security guard Tavius Fantry has had similar trouble.
It's so hard to park. Even with me, I work here and I'm like, where can we park? But we could finally park in the parking lot for free because we work here, so yeah.
Fantry also expressed that Omahans are beginning to question park staff as to when such parking expansion may take place.
Here at the intersection of 8th and Farnham Streets, this Orbit bus station behind me, along with various rideshare services offered in town, remain the only means of public transportation and direct drop-off for Omaha's new Riverfront Park. Officially, there has been no discussion as far as expanding this accessibility for other parking spaces and widening parking lots.
Former director of UNO's Urban Studies program, Dr. Robert Blair, provided insight as to how planning for expanded public accessibility begins to happen.
Transportation providers partner with the planners and help address some of those issues, and just don't wait for things to happen, but actually take a proactive step in dealing with these issues.
Dr. Blair mentions that a collaborative effort between city planning and the public is vital in order to jumpstart this process of expansion, and that patience of Omahans could be key heading into 2024. According to the riverfrontomaha.com, metered stalls and parking garages are in immediate proximity. There are also various forms of public transportation, such as biking and bike share rentals, as well as public transportation access.
Omaha citizens are looking forward to seeing what accommodations will be made in the following year. Thanks, Max.
UNO's annual 3 Days of Service event is underway. The university is partnering with Abide Omaha to gather food and supplies for area neighbors in need. Abide Omaha is a faith-based nonprofit focused on revitalizing local communities. This year's mission is to fill Love Your Neighbor boxes with canned food, pasta, and other non-perishable food items. You can drop off your donation now through the 16th at the Student Milo Bale Center and Barbara White's Community Engagement Center, or the Chris Library.
Coming up, it feels like seasonal allergies are getting the best of you this fall. Chances are you're not alone. Experts say Midwesterners are getting hit harder this year.
there is an uptick in reported COVID cases in the state. But there's good news for Nebraskans. We'll tell you why after the break.
University of Nebraska at Omaha's bookstore is home to more than books. The UNO bookstore accommodates all students' needs with phone and laptop repairs at the iFix UNO station or free residence hall delivery. The bookstore, located in the Malabale Student Center, is full of Maverick merchandise. Find sweatshirts for chilly Nebraska days or cozy UNO mugs for every coffee fix. Shop anytime at unobookstore.com.
Nearly 3,000 student athletes competing in 19 varsity sports from 9 institutions. Compete for nationally ranked teams to become academic All-Americans and NCAA champions. Nearly 100,000 students and more than 800,000 alumni celebrate their schools as they rise to reach the summit. The Summit League, where tomorrow's leaders reach the summit today.
I'm a veteran, wear my battle scars like a letterman's. I done crawled through the mud full speed, so I
Coming
wouldn't underestimate me.
up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Faded press to a full.
The symptoms can be mild or keep you from enjoying your favorite outdoor activities, regardless of the varying degrees of seasonal allergies, as Hannah Wheelock reports. More Omahans are reaching for the tissue box this fall.
According to the CDC, 25% of adults in the U.S. had a seasonal allergy in 2021. Each season has its own allergens. Spring has trees, summer has grass, and fall has weeds. Winter is the only time Midwesterners get a break from allergies. For many people, fall has been increasingly worse for their allergies. This is because of a mixture of the air becoming dry, the increase in mold, and certain plants releasing pollen. The smoke from Canada wildfires has made symptoms even worse. To help lessen allergy symptoms, allergists recommend changing clothing after being outdoors, showering to remove allergens, and taking over-the-counter medication. If taking these measures does little to nothing for allergies, it may be time to visit an allergist, like Dr. Pitlick at Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology.
In Nebraska in general, ragweed is a very potent allergen. Ragweed tends to be the worst in late summer to early fall.
While ragweed is most commonly found in vacant lots, ditches, and open fields, it can be found almost anywhere. In fact, I found this plant right alongside the road. And while it can be found in almost every U.S. state, it is most common in the eastern states and here in the Midwest. So no one is safe from ragweed pollen.
I just feel super congested all the time. My nose won't stop running. It's terrible. I feel like I can't go anywhere because my nose won't stop running.
With a slight breeze outside this afternoon, the pollen count is moderate according to Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology's website. In cities like Omaha, it's easy to avoid harvest dust in the fall, but in rural Nebraska towns, many people deal with harvest pollen and dust, kickstarting their allergies. Back to you in the studio.
2 scientists won the Nobel Prize in Medicine on Monday for discoveries that enabled the creation of mRNA vaccines against COVID-19. Those vaccines are said to be critical in slowing the pandemic. The technology is also being studied to fight cancer and other diseases. Hungarian-American Katalin Karikó and American Drew Weissman were cited for contributing to the unprecedented rate of vaccine development during one of the greatest threats to human health. That's according to the panel that awarded the prize in Stockholm, Sweden.
Mental Health Day Awareness Day is October 10th in Douglas County. Over 25% of people have been diagnosed with depression, with 34% showing symptoms of chronic depression for 2 or more years. Omaha nonprofit, the Wellbeing Partners, specializes in community wellness and workplace partnerships to address local health challenges and grow healthy work cultures. The 2023 Ignite Awards, hosted by the Wellbeing Partners, celebrates members of the Omaha community that have promoted health and wellness by engaging in their community.
Next up, thousands gather for the 12th annual Junk Stock Harvest Edition. It's a local tradition that's making national headlines.
One Metro Historical Society is raising funds for its future.
Keep watching the Omaha News.
The media landscape is vastly different from the past. Conglomeration and consolidation have changed the skill sets required to succeed. Journalists must not only know how to conduct research, interview, and write stories, but they also have to know how to shoot and edit the stories they tell. Likewise, creative media professionals must know how to interview, research, and write the stories they shoot and edit. In the School of Communication, we require students to gain experience and proficiencies employers are seeking. The 2 hardest mediated genres to produce are live sports and newscasts. Thus, once our students are taught the basics, they are given opportunities to improve the abilities at these genres. Capstones 1 and 2 feature the culmination of skill sets. Once students produce the Omaha News, they can use it in their demo reel to show their skills. From here, students can go anywhere.
I never thought I'd be standing in the clouds looking down on the ancient ruins of the Incan Empire. I never thought I'd live among the street artists in Valparaiso. I never thought I'd make friends that would last a lifetime.
Adventure's out there, and as Mavericks, it's up to us to find it.
Stop thinking, start doing. Visit educationabroad.unomaha.edu.
It's a super fun activity. The group only rehearses as needed to prepare for the music that they provide at games. And we're always looking for ways to continue showing what the very talented students in the Maverick Machine are capable of.
I really enjoy doing pep band because it's music that is very familiar to me.
Three out of every 4 small businesses startups are said to fail, according to Business Insider. Despite the dire outlook, more than 5 million businesses were created in the last year. It's a strong outlook for entrepreneurs in a post-pandemic economy. Reporter Dee Warren says there's a local business owner who's filling a niche in Omaha's high-end retail market.
Based on the 2021 U.S. Census Bureau business analysis conducted by OnDeck, 21.4% of businesses in the U.S. are owned by women. And according to NPR, in wake of the pandemic, the number of black female-owned businesses in the U.S. is currently around 30% above pre-pandemic levels. That growth is being driven by black women like Christy Ballard, founder and owner of Status Luxury Handbags and Accessories, who says her journey has had its own hurdles.
Being a business owner / entrepreneur, it's been great, but it also has its challenges.
Christy says one of the most important aspects of her approach is being able to thrive in any type of environment. And Christy's business is definitely thriving. One of the more exceptional aspects of Christy's business is how it initially began during the pandemic. But Christy says that the pandemic presented a specific demand for her products. In fact, according to a 2023 report from Vogue Business, the global luxury market is projected to hit $596 billion by 2030. And it certainly speaks to Christy's success with Status.
But I think it's more so just kind of like the fact that it's been around for as long as it has too, and it's actually survived so much with the pandemic and stuff.
Indeed, the pandemic presented many challenges to entrepreneurs and business owners across Omaha. However, Christie has been able to build and thrive and has been able to do so in style. For the Omaha News, I'm Dee Warren.
Status is expanding its businesses to the Exarban area. Its grand opening for the new store is slated for October 14th.
The search begins for a new Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. After a historic vote yesterday, Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his leadership role in Washington, D.C. 8 Republicans sided with Democrats to tip the balance to 16 to 210 vote. The race for potential successors is underway. The White House has called on the GOP to elect a new Speaker quickly.
As the autumn leaves begin to turn, one event is attracting vintage and handmade enthusiasts from across the country to the town of Waterloo, just outside Omaha on the weekends of September 29th and October 6th. Junk Stock, now celebrating its 12th year, began with just 29 vendors and now features over 200. Scott Spompanato of Spompanato & Co., one of the vendors of Junk Stock, says that the festival helps him and his wife to put a new spin on old junk.
What people are collecting and looking for changes, year after year, so we try to adjust and go with the trends.
The festival also offers over 20 food trucks and live bands playing the Junk Stock stage throughout both weekends. For those with fur babies, Junk Stock is pet friendly. Visitors are welcome to bring their four-legged companions, but don't forget the leash and doggy bags.
In spring 2023, the Nebraska Questers raised $5,000 to be split between 3 Nebraska historical sites on restoration projects. I share more with you about the organization. It's fun to seek and a joy to find is the Questers' motto. They encourage lifelong learning through member research, programs, and tours of historical sites and museums. Questers aren't only looking for new artifacts, there is also a need for younger members. La Bellevue Chapter President Laurel Zielinski explains why she thinks it's crucial for Questers to bring in the younger generation.
Mainly because if we don't educate young people on how to preserve and how to restore and how to appreciate things from the past. Santayana said, if you don't remember the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
International President Lorraine Jeffes says the organization started as an antique group in 1944 during the war, when a woman by the name of Bess Barden noticed that the women in the Red Cross office were feeling depressed, and she wanted to find a way to cheer them up.
She had bought a little antique syrup jar on the way home or on the way to the office, I guess, on break, and put it on her desk, and so some of the women were asking about it, and so then she became the antique expert.
Bardens would then go on to create local chapters, which grew nationwide and divided into each state in their cities or counties. Members of the Questers also come together to promote restoration and to preserve artifacts throughout each state. They want to save them for present and future generations. And if you're wondering if you have any artifacts that could be interesting to the group, they focus on multiple items like coins, perfume bottles, and even arrowheads. For those who think of themselves as young historians or collectors, the group has meetings every month from September to May, and the guests are welcome to come and experience how fun it is to seek and that there is joy in finding. The next Omaha Area Questers meeting will be Tuesday, October 24th at 7 p.m. at Laurel Zielinski's home.
After the break, see how craft fairs are a central part of summer.
Then we'll take a trip to Fremont as one of their most popular buildings gets a facelift.
Don't go away. We have all this and more on the Omaha News.
IT is so broad that it's not just coding. It can be applied in so many different ways in different areas.
Technology impacts a lot of different things, a lot of different people. And if you can truly put yourself in their shoes, and trying to solve that problem, just understanding that why is truly important.
UNO is one of those places where you can come and really get involved in whatever you want.
I ended up taking a bioinformatics class, and I ended up with an MD, PhD. I can do both the research and I can help people.
I chose the College of IS&T because it was my dream to become a data manager, and this college fits the best.
They're really the best people to be teaching the classes because they know and have worked in the field.
There's always a people factor, and getting people that are interested in your development is key to your success.
Create your next adventure and travel the world at Omaha's award-winning Henry Dorley Zoo.
The Nebraska Interscholastic Cycling League held their Triumph at Tranquility event at Tranquility Park this weekend. Reporter Ben Copeland takes us to the competition.
The Nebraska Cycling League, or the NICL, held their third weekend event of the 2023 season this weekend at Tranquility Park, where middle and high school students from across Nebraska come together to cycle. The race had athletes biking through gravel, tree roots, and up and over a hill to finish each lap. But as exciting as the races are, League Director Bree Campbell says that a lot of her excitement comes from the number of athletes participating this year.
It's kind of exploded. So our first year in 2020, we only had 58 athletes, and now we are at 203. So it's definitely growing, and it's not going to stop.
The organization's predecessor, the Nebraska Interscholastic Cycling Series, was started in 2014 by Millard West head coach Ryan Mosley and his brother, before the Nebraska League was officially founded in 2019. What first started out as a small club sport started by two brothers has grown into a statewide organization and community.
It's not like any other sport, you know, like we don't cut people, we don't put them on the bench. If a kid wants to participate and race, then he can. If he just wants to come out here and cruise for a few laps, he can. Or if, you know, he wants to be hyper competitive, that's fine too.
In addition to racing, the NICL currently offers other programs including Leader Summits for coaches, Grit, which focuses on female recruitment, and NICA Adventure, which allows youth to experience community, camaraderie, and of course, mountain biking.
We got 529, 204.
For the Omaha News, I'm Ben Copeland.
The league's next event is called Branched Oak BRAP and will be held on October 14th and 15th in Raymond, Nebraska.
Arlington, Nebraska held its 15th annual Fall Festival last Sunday. This festival takes place every year on the first Sunday in October at the Arlington Auditorium. The festival includes a car show, a craft fair, kids' games, and concessions. Craft fair vendor Millard Benson says she doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon.
As long as I can. As long as my fingers will let me sew and my machine doesn't wear out on me and all of that stuff. Because I like doing it. This is my outlet.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, craft artists are defined as those who create or reproduce handmade objects for sale and exhibition using a variety of techniques such as welding, weaving, poetry, and needlecraft. The median annual wage for a full-time craft artist is just above $38,000. For people like Benson, this is a work of passion and isn't fueled by profit. Registration for next year's craft fair will open in August of 2024.
After 50 years, Fremont's Keene Memorial Library is undergoing renovations for the first time. I turned the page to a new chapter for this historic building. Since 1971, Fremont's Keene Memorial Library has been the repository for literature smack dab in the middle of downtown Fremont. However, now it stands completely empty, not because of any disrepair or neglect. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Library Director Laura England Biggs says that Fremont has rallied around the library in their new home at the City Auditorium.
The community has responded. You would think we would have lost circulation. We've actually maintained more than 50% of what's normal checkouts for a month.
The near future shows much promise. England Biggs says that the new library has distinct areas for adults, young adults, and children. On top of that, there's an additional 12,500 square feet being added to the library, making room for many new features and modernizations.
With all the work being done on the building, it'd be easy to think that some of the historicity of the architecture may be sacrificed. Luckily, the recognizable facade of the building is still intact.
This is great news to many who look to maintain the history of Fremont. Photographer Rich Rader, who's been around the library since the beginning, is more than pleased with the renovations.
Now, the fact that they've added to it 50% space beyond what they had and kept the aesthetics of the old styling, that means a lot.
Rader says that libraries are more important now than ever to connect people across every artistic medium. For now, the library proper is in wait-and-see mode. England Biggs says that about half the books in the library are in the auditorium, and the rest are in storage. However, if you're up to the challenge, you don't have to be a bookworm to find what you're looking for. The additions to the library include an expansion of the parking lot, a complete rewiring of the building, and an ADA-accessible entrances and elevators.
Jackson, you do know that was a caterpillar, right?
No, it's close enough.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a worm.
Well, look, worms can't hold books, all right?
And a caterpillar can?
I mean, come on, it's a stretch here, all right? Well, that's all we have for the Omaha News.
We'll be back next week for more stories for you.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News, or find our website for even more news and stories at unomahanews.com.
From all of us here at UNO Television, thanks for watching.
For me, it's about understanding the process of communication and what we learn through that process.
So something that you'll find within the School of Communication graduate program is that there is such a rich field of expertise.
I can think of no other discipline where we spend so much time focusing on not just one side of the conversation, but all sides of the conversation.
Not only do you get to work closely with other graduate students that come from all different walks of life, but you get to learn from graduate faculty that take those perspectives and help you grow yourself in a way that teaches you to be an academic, but also lets you be you in a really unique way.
I chose UNO very specifically, not just because I live here, I'm proud to represent here, but because I thought their program offered strengths that I didn't see in other programs.
For more than 20 years, only one program has addressed topics that matter to viewers. Only one program delivers the information that Nebraskans need to live the good life. I'm Kathy Wyatt. Join my guests and me as we discuss those issues every week on a program we call Consider This.